Babby, it's Daddy, and we're going to do lesson 15 homework, okay? So that's non-unit fractions by non-unit fractions, okay? So we use our rectangle model, and we'll start to move away from that, okay? And just use math. So let's get going. I'll try and make it real quick because I know this is Thursday and you have ballet or you have dance today, so let's get started, okay? So we kind of continue on, use our different colored stuff like we did yesterday, okay? So if you think you know what to do, then you can go pause the video and go right ahead, and you can come back and check your video, right? Check your answers. So we work on this first, but if you go ahead, just do this section and come back to me on this one, okay? Because this one is slightly different on question 2. Okay, so let's get started. So we have 2 times 3, well, 2/3 of 3/4, right? So we know of means times, okay? So we have to draw a rectangle, draw a model to explain your thinking, and then write the sentence, okay? So let's start with the second number, right? So we need 2/3 of 3/4. So let's go draw a rectangle. Now let's draw it as big as we can so we can see. So this is 4, so we split into 4 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need 3/4, and we label that 3/4. And let's just shade that in. And we can possibly use a little logic on this, okay? So we need 2/3 of 3/4, but let's label these 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, okay? So what do we have here? The red, how many pieces do you see? Let me get my tissue. How many pieces do we see here? We have 3 pieces, right? So when something is split into 3 pieces, what do we call them? We call them thirds, right? So how many units do we need? We need 2. So we need 2, so we need this one and this one. Yes? Do you get that? So we have 2/3, but what's the value of each one? Each one is worth 1/4 and 1/4. So we know the answer would be how many fourths? 2/4, okay? And let me just write down the side. So we have 2/4 equals, divide both by 2, equals 1/2. But if you don't understand it, let's do that the long way, right? So we need 2/3, so we cut it this way into how many pieces? Into 3 pieces. 1, 2. So we name and we label this 2 sections, 2/3, okay? So we need to find out how many in this area, here, here, here. So we know we have 3 boxes going down, 1, 2, 3, and how many across? 1, 2, 3, 4 across, okay? So 3 times 4 is 12, and out of 12 we have how many boxes we need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 out of 12. So we know that 2/3 of 3/4 equals, we multiply across, 2 times 3 is 6, 3 times 4 is 12, divide both by 6, right? And that equals what? 1/2, right? 6 divided by 6 is 1, 6 divided by 12 divided by 6 is 2, okay? And that's how we came up with this answer, okay? So let's write our number sentence. So that equals 2 times 3 over 3 times 4, and that equals, let's simplify. So 3 divided by 3 is 1, 3 divided by 3 is 1, 2 divided by 2 is 1, 4 divided by 2 is 2. So we multiply across, 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 2 is 2, so we get 1/2, okay? So you can pause anytime if you didn't get that, okay? So next one, so we need 2/5 of 3/4, okay? So let's start by splitting the box up into 4 pieces, okay? And let's do our rectangle. Split it into 4 pieces. Down the middle. Okay, we got 4 pieces. And we need what? How many of those pieces? 3. So let's color 3. 1, 2, 3. And we'll label those. How many fourths? 3/4. Okay? So we need 2/5. So we need to split it into how many pieces? 5 pieces. Now we looked at this, so we can't use any logic on that, so we have to split it into 5 pieces. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? And we need how many fifths? We need 2. So let's get 2. That's 1, 2. And we label that 2/5. So we need to find everything in this area. I'm just highlighting it, yeah? So there's how many boxes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we need to find out what's this without the whole piece. So let's continue our lines across. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we know we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces times 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 5 times 4 equals 20. And out of 20 we have how many pieces? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 out of 20. So we know that 2/5 of 3/4 equals how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 20ths. We can divide each one by 2, and that'll be 3/10. So equals 3/10. Yes? So we write our sentence here. So we get equals 2 times 3 over 5 times 4. Can we simplify? Yes. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So that equals 1 times 3 is 3. 5 times 2 is 10. So we have 3/10. Okay? That's our answer. So if you feel you know it, you can pause and do these and wait till we get to item 2, then I'll join you again, okay? Alright, let's do this. So we know we need 2/5 of 4/5, right? So we need a box. So how many pieces are we going to split it into? You split into 5 pieces. Very good. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have 5 pieces. So how many pieces do we need? We need 4. So let's color 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we need 2/5 of 4/5. So how many times do we split it this way? We split it 5 times 2. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? And how many... Oh, sorry, I forgot to label this 4/5. Okay? And we need 2/5 going this way. So we got 1, 2, and we label this 2/5. Okay? So we need to find out everything in this area. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's continue our lines across. So we need to count how many boxes, but it's too hard to count, so let's use multiplication. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 times 5 equals 25. And out of 25 we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 8 25ths. So we know that 2/5 of 4/5 equals, how many say 8 25ths? Okay? So let's do our math over here, our sentence. So we have that equals 2 times 4 over 5 times 5. Can we simplify? No, we can't. So we just multiply it out. So 2 times 4 equals 8. 5 times 5 equals 25. Okay, so that's our answer. Last one in this section. I hope I'm on camera. I hope you're seeing all that, right? So we need 4/5 of 3/4, okay? So let's do the box over here. So how many pieces are we going to split it into first? We always use the second one because we need this amount out of this amount. So we always use it's kind of backwards. We always use the second number first to start with, okay? So we split this into 4s, okay? And again, how many do we need? We need 3 again, right? So we need 3 4s, okay? So let's color that in. And then how many do we need out of the 3/4? We need 4/5. So how many pieces are we going to split it into? 5 pieces. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we need 4/5. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4. And we label this 4/5. Okay? So we need to find out everything in this area. I'm going to highlight it. And we have how many boxes? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 11, 12. So we need to find out how many pieces out of the whole thing. So let's continue our lines across. And we know that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 5 times 4, which is 20. Yes? So out of the 20, we have 12 out of 20. So we know 4/5 of 3/4 equals 12/20. 12 over 20. Now, can we reduce? Yes, what number goes into both? Well, we know that 4 goes into both, right? So 12 divided by 4 is 3. And 20 divided by 4 is 5. So we have 3/5, okay? Is our answer. So let's check over here. So we have 4/5 of 3/4. So we do 4 times 3 over 5 times 4. Now can we simplify? Yes, we can. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So we have 1 times 3 equals 3. And we have 5 times 1 equals 5. So we have 3/5, okay? Alright, so hopefully you did all that. So let's move on to this number 2. And he says, multiply, draw a model if it helps you. Well, we don't really need that, do we? Because now's the time to get away from that. So let's just use regular math, right? So we have 5/6 times 3/10, okay? So let's look at the numbers first. Can we simplify? Yes, we can. So we know 5 and 10 share the same factor. So 5 divided by 5 is 1. 10 divided by 5 is 2. And let's look at 6 and 3. Do they share this factor? Yes, 3. So it's 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So that equals, we multiply straight across. 1 times 1 equals 1. 2 times 2 equals 4. 1/4. So let's go on to the second one. Right? So we have 3/4 times 4/5, right? So let's look at that. Can we simplify? Well, we can't do the 3 and 5. There are no factors, but we can do the 4 and 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So we have 3 times 1 equals 3 over 1, over 1 times 5 equals 5. So we have 3/5. See how we're doing that, Babby? So you want to pause and do the video and do these by yourself, and then you can come back and check the answers. Remember, look at the numbers first and see if we can reduce, okay? It'll eventually come to you, right? Okay, so let's look at this one. 5, 6 times, is that 5/8? I can't see. Yes, that's 5/8. Alright, so let's look at it. Can we simplify? Well, 5 and 8 don't share the same factor, neither 5 and 6. So no, we just have to do it the way it is. So 5 times 5 is 25. 6 times 8 is what? 40. What? 42, is it? No, it's 48. Very good. So we have 25 48s, okay? Okay, let's go on to the next one. So we have 3/4 times 5/12, right? Now can we simplify? Well, let's look at 3 and 12. Does 3 go into 12? Yes, it does. How many times? 4 times is the factor, right? So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So we have 1 equals 1 times 5 is 5 over 4 times 4 is 16. So we have 5/16, right? Last one over here. So let's look at this factor. Let's see if we can simplify. So 8 and 2 share the same factor, which is 2. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And does 3 and 9 share a factor? Yes, they do. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So our answer is 4 times 1 is 4 over 3 times 1, which is 3. Now you look at this, it's an improper fraction. So what is the whole number? So 3 goes into 4 one time, and what's left over? 1. So that's 1 1/3. Last one in this section is 3/7 times 2 9s. Okay? So can we simplify? Yes, we can. 3 and 9 share the same factor, which is 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Equals, so we have 1 times 2, which is 2, over 7 times 3, which is what? 21. So we have 2 21st. Okay? Alright, so that's about 20 minutes, Babby. So I suggest you pause here and go to dance, and we have some word problems to do, and exit ticket, and we'll do that when you come home from dance tonight, okay? Alright, so pause the video now. Okay, Babby, so we're continuing on, right? So hopefully you had a good time at dance, and now let's finish our homework with the word problems, okay? So first one, question number 3. Hallie goes to school every morning with a 1-liter bottle of water. She drinks 1/4 of the bottle before school starts, and 2/3 of the rest, so that's 2/3, this is the important word, of the rest before lunch, okay? What fraction of the bottle does Hallie drink before lunch? Okay, so we know she drinks 1/4 before school and 2/3 before lunch. So we have to find out what fraction of the whole bottle has she drank before lunch. So let's use a tape diagram for this, okay? So we got lots of room, so make it nice and big so we can see what's going on, okay? So she starts out by drinking 1/4. So let's split this into 4 pieces. 1, 2, 3. So we have 4 pieces, right? Now, I know you don't like to do it, but I like to do it. I like to label. So let's label it 1/4, because we have 4 pieces, right? So each one is 1/4. Okay? So now, she drinks 1/4 before school. So let's shade that in a regular pencil, okay? So that's before school. And let's write before school, okay? Then, so she drinks 2/3 of the rest before lunch, right? So this is the rest. Remember that important word. See, this is the rest. Okay? So let's color in the rest and take a look at that. Okay? So take a look. Let's use some logic on this. So take a look at this. So we're not worried about this because she's already drank that. We're worried about the rest. Okay? So now here's my famous tissue. Let's take a look at the rest. And how many pieces is the rest? Do you see? There's how many? 1, 2, 3. And what do we call something that's split into 3 pieces? What do we call the pieces? We call them thirds, right? And so each unit, each box is 1/3 of the rest, right? Don't look at the quarter, that's the value, right? But 1/3 of the rest is the fraction, okay? And how many thirds did she use? She used 2/3, so we need to find the value of these 2/3, right? Yes? 1, 2. So if we need 2/3 or 2 units, how much did she drink? She drank, what's the value? She drank 1/4 and another 1/4, so she drank a half before lunch, right? Okay? But she also drank this before lunch. No, sorry. What fraction? So she just drank this one before lunch. So we have 2/4, right? So 2/4, and that equals, we can reduce 1/2. So she drank 1/2 bottle. Okay? Now we can do that with math. So let me show you with a math sentence, okay? So if we use a math to figure this out, we have how many fourths here? We have 3/4. So we know she drank 2/3 of 3/4. So let's write a sentence here. So she drank, so 2/3 of 3/4 equals 2/3 times 3/4 equals, can we simplify? Yes, we can. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So we have 1 times 3, which is 3. 3 times 2 equals 6. Can we reduce? Yes, they share the same factors. So 3 divided by 3 equals 1. 6 divided by 3 equals 2. So she drank 1/2 bottle, okay? Now, I think you just need to pause because it asks, and get your conversion chart, because that's how many milliliters are left in the bottle at lunch. That's the crucial part, at lunch, okay? Alright, so let's draw our rectangle, or our tape diagram again, okay? So we know we split into 4 pieces, right? Okay? So each one is 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. Okay? So she drank 1 before lunch, and one before school starts, and then 1 or 2/4 before lunch. So you know she drank this much, okay? So that leaves this much left, okay? And how much is left? What's the value of this? Is 1/4, right? Okay? But it asks you in milliliters, right? So she has 1/4 of a what? What did she have first? Of a liter, okay? So we need to find out how many milliliters in a liter. So 1/4 of a liter equals 1/4 times, you remember how to do this? Equals 1/4 times 1 liter equals 1/4 times how many milliliters in a liter? 1,000. Very good. 1,000. Right? Let's continue on over here. Equals 1/4 times 1,000 equals 1 times 1,000 over 4. I'm running out of space. Equals 1,000 divided by 4, or 1,000/4. Okay? So let's move. I'm going to move up here, if you can see, because I'm running out of space. So we have 1,000 divided by 4. Okay? And you can do your long division, but I'm going to cheat, right? So let's cover one of the zeros. So how many times does 4 go into 100? It goes in what? 25 times, okay? And then we put the 0 back on. So we have 250 milliliters. I'm just going to write milli, okay? And that's how much she has left. Okay? So do you understand how I got all that? Yes? So she drank, remember, she drank 1 before school starts, and we already figured out she drank 2/4, which is 1/2 before. So this is how much she has left, and that's 1/4. Okay? Alright, let's look at this one real quick. I'm trying to go fast. Let me move the paper up so you don't have to spend too much time, okay? So Musa delivered 3/8 of the newspapers on his route in the first hour, and 4/5 of the rest, right? That's the important one, in the second hour. What fraction of the newspapers did Musa deliver in the second hour? Okay, let's do a tape diagram, right? But remember, we got lots of space, so let's make the tape diagram big so we can see what goes on, right? And then the answer will jump out at you, okay, Tennille? So let's make it nice and big. So since he starts with 8, let's split this into 8 pieces, okay? So start down the middle, split this side in half, then this side in half, okay? Then split each one in half again, and you'll have 8 even pieces. So how many pieces we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, okay? So what did he do first? He delivered 3/8, so let's label all these 1/8, okay? I know you don't like it, but we can see what's going on. It makes the math easier, okay? Because we have 8 pieces, so each one is 1/8, yes? Okay, so he delivered 3/8 in the first hour and 4/5 in the second hour. Oh, so what fraction in the second hour? So anyway, so let's count 3/8, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, and that's what he delivered already, okay? But we don't need that because they're gone. We need to find what is the rest. So this is the rest, right? So let me just color that. So you can see whatever I did with my pencil, oh, my colored pencil's gone. Oh, what did I do with it? Alright, so you know what I'm talking about. So I'll color this lightly, okay? So how much is the rest? Oh, here's my colored pencil. right? So this is the rest, okay? So let's get my famous tissue again. So the rest is, how many pieces do you see, Tennille? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And when we split something into 5, what do we call each piece? One, we call them a fifth, right? There's 5 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't worry about the 1/8 because that's the value, okay? So how many fifths do we need to find out? We need to find out 4. So we need to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have, but the value of each one is what? 1/8. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's highlight that. So we need to find the value of this area. And there's how many pieces in this area? 1, 2, 3, 4. And each one is 1/8. So we have what? 4/8, right? So we know we have 4/8. And that equals what? They share the same factor of 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. And 8 divided by 4 is 2, sorry. So he delivered 1/2 of papers, okay? And that's the answer. Now let's do it with math, okay? Which is straightforward, right? So I'm going to show you this real quick, right? So he delivered 3/8, right? So what is left? What is the rest? The rest is 5/8, okay? So we can do 4/5 of 5/8, right? So 4/5 of 5/8 equals 4/5 times 5/8 equals 4 times 5 over 5 times 8. Now can we reduce? Yes, we can. 4 goes into 4 one time. 4 goes into 8 2 times. 5 goes into 5 one time. 5 goes into 5 one time. So we have 1 times 1 equals 1. 1 times 2 equals 2. So we come up with half. So which way do you think is easier? Looking at the numbers or doing the math? I think they're both the same, okay? Alright, so getting towards the last one, last question, number 5, right? Okay, let's see. Now, Rose bought some spinach. Oh, we can probably use some logic on this, right? Rose bought some spinach. She used 3/5 of the spinach on a pan of spinach pie for a party, okay? She used 3/4 of the remaining, so 3/4 of the remaining, important word, a spinach pan for her family. She used the rest of spinach to make a salad. What fraction of the spinach did she use to make the salad? Okay. So let's use another tape diagram and see if we can use some logic on this, okay? Alright. So let's draw a nice big tape diagram, okay? But we need to leave some room to write. So let's write it down here. Okay? So let's make it nice and big. And since she used what first? 3/5, let's split it into fifths, okay? So we need 5 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? Yes? So she used 3/5, so we label this 3/5. So each one is 1/5, okay? 1/5, 1/5, 1/5, right? I'm going to label this 1/5 for a second, 1/5, right? Each one is 1. So she used 3/5 to make the spinach for the party. So let's call this thing the party, okay? P-A-R-T-Y, okay? And she used, and she used 3/4 of the remaining. So let's call this remaining. Let's write it up high because we're going to need to write over below it. Remaining. Okay? So we need to find out the remainder. So we don't need this. We need to find out the remaining section, which is, okay, you see, sorry, the remaining section, okay? So she used 3/4 of the remaining. But let's take a look at this. So since we don't need that, right? And we see this is, don't worry about the 1/5 in there, right? We see it's in 2 pieces, right? So let's make it 4 pieces. Let's just split this in half, right? Each one in half. Okay, so now we have 4 pieces, okay? Yes? So now, and sorry, then this section was how many? We used 3/5. So 5/5 is 5/5. So 5/5 minus 3/5 equals 2/5, right? So this is 2/5. Okay? So now let's look at this. In this section we have 4 pieces. And when we have 4 pieces, what do we call them? We call them fourths, right? So let's label them fourths. So let's erase that. So let's call all these fourths, okay? And she used, so this part is the remaining, and she used how much? 3/4, right? So she used this much, and this much. So this little piece is how much she used to make the salad, okay? Which is 1/4 of what? What's this section? How many in this section? 2/5. So we can do our math sentence. So you might need mommy to help you explain how that works. So we have 1/4 of, what was this section left? 2/5. Very good. 2/5, right, equals, of means times. So we have 1/4 times 2/5 equals 1 times 2 over 4 times 5. Okay? Can we simplify anywhere? Yes, we can. So 2 and 4 share the same factor. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So we have 1 times 1 equals 1. And we have 2 times 5 equals 10. So we have 1/10. Okay? Very good. Now, it says if Rose used 3 pounds of spinach to make the spinach pan for the party, how many pounds of spinach did Rose use to make the salad? Okay, so let's draw our tape diagram again and split it into 5 pieces again. Let's make it big so we can see. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So let's call this, so she used it, so each one is a 5th. Oh, sorry, I won't do that yet, okay? So we know each one is a 5th. So let's label, how many did she use? She used 3/5. So we use 1, 2, 3, and this is for the party, okay? Yes? Very good. So let's look at this. So we have 3 pieces. Yes, this is 3/5. And how many pounds did she use? She used 3 pounds, right? So what do you think the value of each of these are then? Right? Well, you remember your units? So this party is 3. Okay, this whole section is 3. So 3 units equals what? 1, 2, 3. So 3 units equals 3. So 1 unit equals what? 3 divided by 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. Equals 1. So each one is 1 pound, right? So we have 3 pieces. She used 3 pounds. in 3 pieces, so each one is 1. So that's 1 pound, that's 1 pound, that's 1 pound, right? Now let's look at the whole thing. If we split something into 5 equal parts, and this is 1 pound, this is 1, this is 1, so what do you think these are? Let's use logic. They're both 1, so this is 1 and this is 1, right? Or you can see over here where we use the units, 5 units, 1, 2, 3, 4, would be 5 times 1 equals 5. So we know there's a 1 unit, okay? So now we need to find out what portion or what fraction, or sorry, how many pounds did she use for the salad. So if we go back to our answer over here, she used 1/10 of the whole amount to make this salad, okay? So we do make a number symbol, 1/10 of what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1/10 of 5 equals 1/10 times 5 equals 1 times 5 over 10. Can we simplify? Yes, we can. 5 and 10 share the same factors. So that's 5 divided by 5 is 1. And 10 divided by 5 is 2. That equals 1. Sorry. So that equals 1 times 1 is 1. And then over 2, right? And that equals 1/2. So she used 1/2 pound. O-U-N-D. Okay? That's the answer. Right? So you can look at that if you're not sure. Hopefully you understand the way I got this, right? And to figure it out. Okay? We could go the long way. Well, let's do the oh, I hope you saw that. I'm sorry. You might have missed that. I think I got cut off. But anyway, let's do the whole thing. Let's do the exit ticket. And we'll come back and I'll show you the long way how to get this section. Okay? If that might be easier for you. Okay, so here's the exit ticket real quick. And by now you should be an expert. Right? So you can try and do this by yourself first. Okay, so pause and then come back and check your answer, right? So he says, draw a rectangle fraction model to explain your thinking. Okay, so we have to draw a rectangle model, okay? So we always start with the second number, so I'm going to go real quick. We have a box, so we need 2/3 or 3/5, right? So how many do we split in first? 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and how many do we need? We need 3. So that's 1, 3. So we label that 3/5. Okay, yes? So let's shade that area in. 3 pieces, okay? And now we need 2/3. So how do we make things thirds, right? We split into 3 pieces. So we go 1, 2, and then we label this 2/3, right? So we need to find everything in this area, okay? And that's this box, this box, this box, this. But we need to find a value of the whole thing. So let's continue our lines across. And then count how many boxes. So we have 1, 2, 3 going down. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going across. So we have 3 times 5 equals 15. And out of that 15 we have how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we know 2/3 of 3/5 equals what? 6/15. And can we break it down? Or can we, I should say break it down. Can we simplify? And yes we can, because both have the same factor of 3, right? So 6 divided by 3 is 2. 15 divided by 3 is 5, right? So the answer is 2/5, right? And if we look at that, what do we see? We see 2 pieces, right? So we have 2/5, right? Next one. Now this is gonna be big, so we're gonna have 9 8-boxes times 8 boxes. So let's simplify this first, right? So let's look at these numbers, okay? So can we simplify? Oh, before we do that, let's finish our number sentence, okay? So we do 2/5 of means times, right? Equals 2 times 3 over 3 times 5, okay? So can we simplify? Yes, 3 divided by 3 is 1. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So we have 2 times 1 equals 2, and 1 time over 1 times 5 equals 5. So we have 2/5, okay? Now, let's look at the second one. So if we do all the boxes like this, it's going to be really big. I'll show you that way, and see how difficult it is. But so let's look at it and let's reduce first, okay? So what do we have? 4 and 8 share the same factor, which is 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. And 9 and 3 and 9 share the same factor. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. And 9 divided by 3 is 3. So we have 1/3 times 1/2, or of 1/2, right? So let's draw our box. So we draw our box, and we need second number, so we split this in half, okay? So let's color that. And we need what? 1/3, so let's split this into 3 pieces, yes? So this is 1/2, and we need 1/3, right? So we need to find out this section out of the whole piece. So let's carry our lines across. So we know we have 1, 2, 3 going down times 1, 2 across. So 3 times 2 is 6, and out of the 6 we have 1. So we know that 1/3 of 1/2 equals 1/6. Okay? So we check that with math. So 1/3 times 1/2 equals 1 times 1 is 1. 3 times 2 is 6. Okay? So let's do our math over here. Equals 1 times 1 equals 1. 3 times 2 equals 6. And that's your answer. Now, if we did the original number, which would be what? 4 9s divided by 3 8s, okay? So I'll just show you real quick. You don't have to do it. I'll show you what we do.